What's up, everyone? Luke Jean here, back with another video, and today I'd love to talk about Hindu creation myths. I know it's something that is a bit unrelated to what we've been talking about recently on this channel, focusing a lot on Christianity and some modern political events surrounding various groups of Christianity, but the Rig Veda, the oldest written artifact in ancient South Asian history, which is a huge 10-volume collection of myths and legends and theological, if you could call it that, works of the Hindu religion dating back from 2000 BCE to 1000 BCE, contains some of the most profound creation myths on the planet. Now, if you know anything about me, I love the clinical psychologist Carl Jung because it is his belief, and my belief as well, that all creation myths, in other words, the primal myths about the origins of the universe in various cultures throughout the world, tell the same story in a different way. And the Hindu religion, which for members of the Christian faith or monotheistic religion may seem like a total heretic religion that has millions and millions of gods, 330 million actually, according to one professor, is a joke and should not be taken seriously. But that is not true. Every human being originated from the same place in Africa and immigrated out of Africa approximately 40,000 years ago. That is a historical fact. And they spread to Europe, spread to Asia, and then about 10 to 12,000 years ago, eventually spread to the Americas. And these human beings eventually created larger peoples, larger tribes, and eventually civilizations, the earliest of which being around 6,000 years ago in what's now the modern Middle East and modern West Asia. And among these groups that had creation myths were the Indus River Valley civilization, and then after them, the mysterious Aryan civilization, which migrated from perhaps Northern Europe. Historians are not so sure. And the Rig Veda has few different but profound creation myths to add to the collection of creation myths that exist all throughout the world: North America, Europe, Africa, and of course, the biblical traditions found in the Bible. And you can find all of them in a book called Primal Myths. I highly recommend it. And the Rig Veda has a few creation myths, one of them being about the cosmic man. And it has this myth, and I'm just going to read the beginning of the story here. This is from book 10 of the Rig Veda, where it starts out saying that 1,000 heads had primal man, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 feet, encompassing the earth on every side. He exceeded it by 10 fingers. That man is the whole universe. Think about that. The ancient South Asian people, the ancient Hindus, had an idea that the universe is the same image as a man. That is directly from Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, which talks about how God created human beings in his image. And divine principle in unificationism goes one step further, saying that actually man is a microcosm of the universe. Every element found in the human being and men and women in humanity are found throughout the universe. And the Hindus knew this 3,000-4,000 years ago. And what it talks about is how this primal man was divided into four. Now, this plays in directly into the Hindu caste system, where the Brahman, the priests, were at the top, followed by the warriors, the merchants, and then the laborers. And they got this from this idea, this legend, which talked about how this primal man was cut into four parts, and this primal man created the universe. There's more similarities in the Sumerian Babylonian creation myth, where the corpse of the feminine creator deity and the blood of Kingu, the satanic type deity, is what creates the world. The corpse of Tiamat and the blood of Kingu create the universe. In a similar manner, this primal man is the stuff, philosophically speaking, stuff that created the entire universe. That is one creation myth from the Rig Veda. The other main one is in a few stories, and it's about this cosmic embryo, or cosmic egg as it's described in later stories, which floats upon the surface of the primordial waters. Isn't that a callback to the Bible as well? Isn't that similar to the Bible? Isn't that similar to the Mesopotamian Babylonian creation myth? And this story in the Rig Veda starts out saying that the golden embryo stirred and evolved. Once he was the one Lord of every being, the heaven and earth did sustain. So it's from this golden egg, this golden embryo, and Carl Jung talks a lot about the psychological phenomenon of the golden egg and how it is the golden egg that cracks, splits into two, creating the heavens and the earth respectively. That is the foundation for the entire universe. And in later stories, in later traditions of Hinduism, this golden embryo is the Brahma, the ultimate creator god, which started out from non-being and then became being. It's very eerily similar to some aspects of the Genesis creation story, where you have God, the creator, floating upon the primordial waters of the earth. And this God, if we take a look at Genesis 1:27 and we apply the logic that if man is man and woman were created in the image of God, then this God has a dual nature. And this dual nature, these dual characteristics, are common throughout multiple creation stories. It's found in the Genesis creation story, the Genesis chapter 1 creation story to be specific, because Genesis chapter 2, beginning from verse 4, is a slightly different creation story. You have that in Genesis. You have that with Apsu and Tiamat in the Sumerian Babylonian story. You have that with the Egyptian creation narrative, and you have it in the Hindu creation narratives, because in every narrative you have the divide between the heavens and the earth. You have the dual nature of the golden egg, in which the golden egg splits into two, creating the various aspects of the universe. Divine Principle calls this dual characteristics. Divine Principle in Unificationism also talks about how the splitting between the heavens and the earth and these dual aspects go back to the Taoist idea of the plus and the minus, of the yin and the yang, and how that's in every aspect of the universe. And the Hindu creation myths are no exception to this rule. Okay? Not at all. And this golden egg evolved from the god Prajapati, the older Hindu creation god, and it's still around today, the creator god. And that creator god has now been, in modern times, known as the Brahma. And what's very interesting about the Brahma is that in many traditions of Hinduism, everyone is seeking to become the Brahma. In other words, once you have perfected yourself to the point where you do not need to reincarnate into something better, or if you live a bad life, into something worse, you eventually become a Brahma. That's the goal of Hinduism, to stop the cycle of reincarnation and to become the Brahma. Buddhism, in response, does not believe that there's a Brahma or a creator at all of the universe, but because it believes in the cycle of transformation in order to become self-transcendent. But there are other religions, such as Christianity, which talk about becoming like the deity that they worship. For example, Christians are called to become Christ-like. In Christianity, you are supposed to be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, quoting from the Gospel of John in Jesus' words. And the same is true in Unificationism, where everyone is called to be an embodiment of Heavenly Parent. And to close out this video, talking about these few creation myths found in the Rig Veda and under Hinduist texts, the idea of a heavenly parent is not foreign, actually. It's not foreign at all. It's from the very core of both the Judeo-Christian creation myths and other religious creation myths, such as the Hindu creation myths, Mesopotamian/Babylonian creation myths, the Egyptian creation myths, and all other sorts of creation myths. There's this idea of the primal moving waters and this dual nature deity, whether it's put in two separate deities or one deity or one thing like the cosmic egg, is what spawns and creates the universe. Even in Hinduism, you have this idea of being and non-being, these two dual characteristics, even with respect to being itself. It's a very fascinating philosophical and theological idea. But Heavenly Parent is both not foreign due to these creation myths. If you look at them, it's so obvious, it's so clear. You don't even need to look at Genesis 1:27. You can look from a purely historical and psychological perspective, like Carl Jung did, and find that there is this dual nature to whatever created the universe. But what is revolutionary about Heavenly Parent, and what is really stumping people nowadays, is the specific manifestation of God the feminine, this heavenly mother. The way that in unificationism Heavenly Parent expresses the feminine part of the deity is distinctly different and revolutionary from the major creation myths. And I will talk about that in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this brief tour and exploration into the big picture ideas of the Hindu creation myths. There's a lot there. I highly encourage you to check it out, whether you're Christian or not, whether you're a believer or not, or if you're a Hindu and you've come across this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I encourage you to leave your comments and feedback to see if I got any of this wrong. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.